Today's training is on the Spinal Hygiene education machine, how to create believers through repetition. You see, most doctors think that patient education is something they do. I believe patient education is something that you build. The goal isn't to have one great conversation, right? The goal is to create a system where patients are constantly being exposed to the same ideas over and over again. Strategically, we build this system that exposes those patients while they're in our office under our care to the same lasting, long-term wellness ideas over and over, and it begins to change them from believers to understanders, and then increases our retention in the long run. Why most patient education fails is because one conversion is rarely enough. Patients learn through repeated exposure. One conversation is not going to do it. Most doctors educate like this. They explain, they recommend, and then they hope. They're frustrated when patients forget about what they told them that one time. See, patients don't fail because they're lazy. Patients fail because they're human. They're busy. They get distracted. They're overwhelmed. They got family struggles, job struggles, life struggles. We have to stop assuming that one conversation, one conversion equals understanding. It's a constant conversation, a constant conversion through their entire life cycle. That's what practice is. It's the life cycle of every single patient that comes into our office. See, patients are busy, they get distracted, they get forgetful, right? But repetition solves this. They might not have got it that one time, but they might get it the third time or the fifth time or the ninth time. Think about how many instructions patients hear every day from their doctors, from their bosses, from their spouses, from their kids, from the news, from social media. They get bombarded with all this. Here's how you do this. Here's what you should do. Our message is competing with all of that. That's why we have to just focus on repetition, focus on the system, and focus on creating the repetition. So I want to introduce you to what I call the shotgun method of education, right? It's everything. When you shoot a shotgun, the BBs spread and they hit everything, right? That's what our education needs to be like. So they need to be getting education from the doctor, from the team, every visit that they're in, from workshops, from flyers, from events that we're having, from emails that we've set up that are automated that continually go out, from videos that we're creating and videos that we're playing in the office, from social media that we're posting, ads that we're running, re-exams that we're doing through their process, other patients telling them about it. They need to get this same message over and over and over and over. This is how you win. Every touch point becomes educational. Instead of relying on one explanation one time, we create these multiple exposures over the life of the patient in our practice. Because repetition creates belief. People believe what they've repeatedly heard and experienced over time. So the first time that they hear, your mission statement or your premise for practice for care, right? They hear your philosophy. The first time they're exposed to it, they say, "Oh, interesting. Never heard that before." They hear it again. They hear it again. They hear it again. The fifth time, they say, "That is really interesting." They had forgot what you told them the first time. By the 10th time, they're saying, "That makes sense." By the 20th time, they're saying, "Yes, I believe it. I'm a follower. Let's go." See, nobody becomes a wellness patient after hearing something once. Belief is built through repetition over and over. That's why we build it into our systems, our day 1, our day 2, our day 3, our constant education, our re-exams. We teach that health is a process and healing takes time. Their problems didn't start yesterday. So that's if the first time they heard that, they're going, that's interesting, right? We teach them that healing takes time. Their problems don't correct overnight. They've been bombarded by millions of different repetition of drug companies telling them that they can have instant relief, instant healing, and all these things that are lies, but they're a quick fix, right? They're a fast food society. So we have to teach them healing takes time. It starts to make sense to them. We tell them that structure matters. Structure equals function. We tell them you can't fix a structural problem with a chemical solution. Your pills don't work here to fix your problem. There's got to be something else that can actually get to the root cause. And then they start saying, that makes sense. We tell them symptoms can be misleading. We're looking for the cause of the problem so that we can help them achieve their health goals, not just masking a symptom. Sometimes that's the first time in your office is the first time they've actually heard that. Then they come back for that day 2, right? And we're trying to create more understanding, explaining the problem a little bit better, giving them a plan, showing them a path how to pay for this and get started. So we teach them on day 2, what's causing the problem? We found it. We explain it. And we ask them specifically, I literally say this to them, do you want to correct this problem? Because if that's not something they want to do, then they're not going to be a good fit in our office, right? We're having them take accountability. And then we show them why the care plan matters. There's only one way to correct this problem. More shots, more medications, more surgeries are not going to work. Here's the one plan that will correct your problem. And they go, oh, that makes sense. And then we show them the path to get them started. Here's what it's going to cost you. Which option works better for you? And we've taken them through this process already. By day 2, they're starting to say, makes sense. And then when they say yes to care and they start, here's where our shotgun education begins to go into play, right? We introduce spinal hygiene. We show them that it's important to have good daily habits. We explain the spinal hygiene kit on day 3, and we make sure that they understand, just like your teeth, your spine needs to be taken care of on a daily basis. You've got to build these good daily habits around spinal care, and then that will give you huge returns on your time and your energy in the form of health. Consistency matters. And we use these dental analogies all the time. We say, look, if you brushed your teeth just once, would that make any difference in your life? And they're going to say no, because it's consistency over time that makes all the difference. Same thing for taking care of your spine. Consistency over time makes all the difference. A lot of times, this is the first they've ever heard of this, but in their mind, they're going, interesting. Now it's your job to make sure that's not the only time they hear that they have to be bombarded over and over and over repetitively with that same message so that they can begin to understand it and believe it, so that they can take personal responsibility. Just like it's a dentist's job to correct cavities, then we show them that once they get their cavities corrected, it's important that they brush and floss at home. I tell them, look, it's my job to correct your subluxations. Your job is to maintain that health of your spine through those spinal hygiene exercises at home between your visits. We make it clear. The 3 things that we want you to maintain at home for when it comes to your spine are alignment, mobility, and strength. And our spinal hygiene kits that we give our patients help them to maintain that alignment, mobility, and strength between their chiropractic visits. Now, are they not going to have to, once we get things corrected, they start feeling better, they're still going to have to come in for wellness care, and it makes sense to them because they already have this model built in dentistry. We brush and we floss and we take care of our teeth, but we still go to the dentist for checkups. When the dentist finds cavities, we go there for correction of those cavities. Then we go back home and we continually take care of our teeth from home again because it's important, because our dental health is valuable to us. We need to create this exact same model inside of our practices where spinal health becomes valuable to our patients, valuable enough for them to actually do something at home to maintain it, and to have a chiropractor on their health team to go in for checkups. And when subluxation is there, they get their subluxations corrected by that chiropractor. Workshops. Let's go through and let's see, how are we going to present these different avenues, these different vehicles of education? Number 1 is workshops. Reinforce the message in a different environment. Workshops allow patients to learn without pressure. It also allows them to bring guests and helps us to generate more new patients because we're encouraging referrals. And it helps them to learn how to teach spinal hygiene and lifetime wellness care to their friends and family as well. So here's some examples. We do a Better Results Faster workshop. It's basically a new patient orientation workshop. We do neuropathy workshops because that's something that we're passionate about. We do chronic pain workshops, which brings in a lot of people as well. And then we do just specific spinal hygiene workshops and big events for spinal hygiene. And all of these workshops, even though they're titled or labeled something different, they're within those workshops are this framework of repetitive education around the same things, that the structure of your spine matters, the function of your spine and nervous system matters, and that you need to be taking care of this for the long term. Videos, we actually use day 1 and day 2 videos, and we even have a day 3 video that we send out in our offices. Once they make it to day 3, they said yes to care. We have a 21-day spinal hygiene challenge sequence that will deliver a video every single day for 21 days, teaching them the importance of lifetime spinal care. We are gathering testimonial videos all the time. We're creating educational videos. We're posting social media videos. Video is a big part of education, especially in today's society. Email education, right? We teach between visits through email. Without even using the doctor's time or the team's time, we have automated sequences that are set up to go out. Most offices dramatically underutilize email. Email allows you to educate those patients when they're at home. Again, the 21-day spinal hygiene challenge, that's how it's delivered. Every single day they have an email waiting for them in their inbox with a video that's inside of that email. Now, does everyone open every email and watch every video? No, but they will open a handful or more of them. They will watch the ones that they watch, and that will be more repetition with the same strong message of lifetime wellness care. Social media, we reinforce education and the success stories from people in our office by posting to social media. Most offices use social media only for marketing. They're just running in a little adjusting ad, a treatment ad, whatever it is. We want to use it for patient education. Also, your patients are following you. The friends and family of the patients that you have in your office are following you. They can share those educational videos with their community. And so we want to use it not just for patient education, we want to use it for community education. Table talk, very, very important. The small conversations that we create at the table have big impacts on compliance and retention. Table talk might be the most underrated educational tool in your office because this is coming straight from the doctor. So simple examples would just be questions to start the conversation with patients. Not long, drawn-out conversations that are going to slow us down and back us up with care. Just simple ones like, how are your spinal hygiene exercises going, Mary? How's it going? And that's it. She's like, it's great, or she needs help with it. But it brings that back to the front of her mind. Oh, those spinal hygiene exercises, right. The doctor's going to check on me. You might say, what did you think about the workshop the other day? They were at the workshop. Then you're getting their feedback, which is great. You're getting their buy-in. Simple questions at the table can make a big difference. The whole team every time someone comes in the office should be reinforcing the education that we want our patients to know. So patients should hear the same message from everyone over and over again. That's why I think it's so important to implement these spinal hygiene kits and the spinal hygiene concepts in your practice when your team starts training patients on how to use the spinal hygiene exercises. Understanding what spinal hygiene is makes it so much easier for everybody to share the same message over and over and over with all the patients. So your patients should hear the same message over and over again from the doctor, from the CAs, from their rehab staff, from the front desk every time they check in and check out, right? Hey, Mary, how those spinal hygiene exercises going? Are you doing your exercises from home, etc., etc. Consistency builds trust, and we want our patients to get it from every person on our team. So we create that educational flywheel, right? Education, which improves compliance, which actually improves results, which is so important. When people are getting better results and they have better compliance, then retention goes up. Then when people are now understanders and they see the importance of lifetime spinal care, they start referring and the clinic grows. So this flywheel just keeps getting stronger and stronger. The goal is not more information. The goal is more transformation with our patients and our community. So what success looks like, patients beginning to educate themselves, doing their own research, sharing this information with others. To me, that's what true success looks like in our clinic. So what I want you to do for today's training is I want you to choose one educational touch point this week that you're going to improve. I want you to identify what educational touch points exist in your office. Are you doing regular email education? Are you posting social media education? Are you doing table talk? Does your team understand the message that they should be giving to your patients on a regular basis? Are you using flyers? Are you gathering testimonials? All those things are educational touch points. And I want you to really look at that inside your practice and see where we're missing, where we're doing well, and how we can just increase the repetition that our patients are getting with this same spinal hygiene, lifetime spinal care message. We want them to get over and over and over. That will improve everything, all statistics in your practice. All right, so in closing, I want you to understand belief comes through repetition. Understanding comes through repetition. Your patients need to see this same message over and over and over. Set that up as a system, right? Don't randomly hope that happens in your clinic. Set it up as systems in each one of these vehicles to educate your patients about spinal hygiene, about lifetime spinal care. Patients become believers through repeated exposure to the same truth. All right, thanks for being on this training. We'll see you on the next one.